In the heart of South Africa's remote Schu Fosi National Park, the land groaned under the weight of a relentless sky. For 6 long months, not a single drop of rain had fallen. The rivers had shriveled into dusty memories. The wind, once carrying the scent of blooming grasses and wet soil, now swept across the plains with a ghost touch, lifting only sand and sorrow. The savanna was silent. No birds, no stampeding herds. The elephants had marched away weeks ago, leaving behind only heavy footprints in the dust. Even the predators, those who thrived on desperation, had vanished, seeking prey elsewhere. But not everyone had left. One mother rhino remained, anchored not by foolishness, but by fierce devotion. Her horn, long and proud, bore the scars of past battles. Her hide was thick and cracked like the earth itself. And at her side wobbled her baby, a calf barely 4 months old, with ears too big for its head and eyes that still searched for wonder in a dying world. The mother had known this land since birth, its hidden watering holes, its shaded trees, its dangers, but none of her knowledge could summon water from stone. Every day, she led her calf through a growing desert, hoping against hope. The once reliable lake they called home had turned to a hollow of cracked mud. No moisture, no grass, no life. The calf grew weaker. It no longer played, no longer nuzzled at her side. It walked with effort, sometimes stumbling, breathing in rasps. Still, the mother stayed, not out of stubbornness, but because it was home, the only home her baby had ever known. But on the 182nd day of drought, just before dawn, she made a decision. She would leave. Far to the west, 50 kilometers away, lay a memory, a lake she had drunk from as a calf. It might be gone, but it might still shimmer, still hold life. That sliver of hope was all she had. And so she began the journey. The trek was brutal. Under the white sun, mother and calf became shadows, crawling across a land too hot to hold life. The ground burned their feet. The air shimmered with false promises. Again and again, the mother spotted mirages, water dancing in the distance, only to vanish as they neared. There was no shade, no breeze, just a deafening hum of heat. By the second day, the calf began to falter. Its legs buckled often. The mother would pause, nudge it, wait patiently. She never roared, never forced. She simply stood beside her baby until it rose again. They passed bones, antelope, zebra, even another rhino. The calf stared, confused. The mother did not. She remembered each one. Each had once walked these lands, strong and proud. Now they were dust. On the third night, they found a dry riverbed and rested. The stars above glittered cold and distant. The mother stood guard while the calf slept at her feet. She hadn't slept in days. Jackals lurked nearby, their eyes glowing, waiting. But she did not move. Her breath came slow but steady. As long as her calf lived, she would not fall. The next morning, the calf collapsed. Its body crumpled onto the hard ground, too weak to cry. The mother panicked. She circled it, nudged it, growled deep from her chest. But the baby didn't move, not at first. After long minutes, it stirred, barely. Its breathing was shallow, but it was still alive. The mother leaned over it, shielding it from the rising sun, her body trembling, not from weakness, but fear. She had never known fear like this. Still, she did not stop. As the sun climbed higher, she coaxed the calf to stand. It rose, shaking, and together they moved again, step by step, breath by breath. Then, on the 5th day, they saw it, a shimmer, not a mirage, not a lie, a lake, small, fading, but real. Hope surged in the mother's chest. She pressed forward, faster now, the calf dragging behind. Water, salvation. But just as they reached the edge, the calf collapsed again. And this time it didn't move. The mother roared, a sound that shook the dust from nearby trees. She circled her baby, nuzzled its side, trying to wake it. Her large body cast a shadow over the still form of her calf. She stood there for hours, unmoving, guarding, grieving, but not giving up. That morning, Ranger Mandla began his patrol. He knew the rhinos of Schu and Fosi better than anyone. He had tracked the mother since she was young. He had watched her give birth, watched the calves' first steps. When they disappeared from their usual grazing spot, a knot tightened in his gut. He knew something was wrong. He radioed it in, then mounted his patrol vehicle and followed the trail west. The prints were faint, barely visible in the dust, but they were there. He followed them past broken trees, over dead riverbeds, past bones. For hours, nothing. Then he saw her, standing tall, alone, at the edge of the shrinking lake. Mandla stopped the vehicle and stepped out slowly. The mother turned sharply, eyes wide. Her massive body stiffened, ready to defend. Her calf lay at her feet, unmoving, eyes closed. Mandla spoke softly. He had done this before, approached rhinos without weapons, only with calm. His voice, low and steady, filled the silence. The mother snorted. Her ears flicked. She didn't charge. She remembered him. He approached slowly, every step deliberate. He opened his medical bag and knelt beside the calf. Its skin was hot, breath faint. Dehydration. Collapse. Not yet death, but close. Gently, he slid a stimulant into a syringe, injected the calf. Then water trickled slowly into the corner of its mouth. He fanned its face with his hat. He whispered words he didn't fully understand himself, just sounds of comfort, of presence. The mother hovered over him the entire time, watching, guarding, trusting. Then a twitch, a blink, a sound like a gasp. The calf moved. Mandla froze. The mother stepped forward, nuzzling the calf's side. It blinked again, this time more alert. Slowly, painfully, it lifted its head. Its mother roared, not in rage, but in relief. A deep, thunderous call that echoed through the empty savannah. The calf stood and leaned into her, trembling. Mandla backed away, eyes wet. He had seen death many times in this park. But this was life reborn. He radioed in the update. The rhinos are alive. Weak but alive. We'll need to monitor them. He stayed until the sun began to fall, watching the two graze quietly near the water's edge. The mother never took her eyes off her calf. The calf, though tired, moved now with purpose. They had made it. That night, clouds gathered, heavy and dark, rumbling with promise. And just before dawn, the first drop fell. Then another, then thousands. Rain. The land drank it eagerly. The soil hissed. Trees seemed to lift their branches in praise. Patches of green began to peek through the dust. Mandla returned the next day. The lake had filled slightly. The grass was already thicker. The rhinos were gone, but their tracks led into the deeper forest, where fresh growth promised rest. He smiled. They were safe. For now. And though they had vanished into the trees, Mandla would never forget that moment. The mother's roar. The calf's first breath after near death. The way a single act, driven by love, by instinct, by duty, had tipped the balance from loss to life. This is not just a story of rhinos. It is a story of motherhood, of endurance, of quiet courage, of refusing to give up, even when the world gives you every reason to. It's a story of those who survive, and those who step in at the right moment to help them do so. To every ranger, every soul who watches over the wild, every creature that chooses to fight one more day,